Hello everyone, today is a wonderful day because I, Scourge271, am going to start an audiobook reading for this wonderful author that I met while I was at Dickens of a Christmas, which is a festival near where I live. The book is called Doppelganger Jumper by Judy Lyn Gregg. I'm going to read the back first. Let me be the adult, and you concentrate on being a child. Thanks for the thought. Aunt Nora. But I'm too old and worn down to be a child who revels in fairy tales, little pets, and imaginative's adventures? 16-year-old Abigail Azure's mother is in a coma, dying. Her abusive father is on the run, and Abigail is plucked from her life and transported to the home of her Aunt Nora. Her aunt, allegedly a wailing banshee, claims Abigail has a jumping gift buried deep within her that allows her to visit other realms, populated by doppelgängers from her homeworld. This banshee and jumping stuff feels like nonsense to Abigail, until she jumps, travels to another realm, and maybe falls in love. Aww. She can't get distracted now because her mother is running out of time, and medical technology is proving inept. Abigail resolves to use her gifts to gain control of her fate and help her mother, but her dad shows up and he has a plan of his own. Ugh. Don't you just hate it when dads are just jerks instead of being nice? Or at least that's what I assume. Anyway, the book sounds interesting from reading the back plot line. Now let's read a little bit about the author. Judy Lyn Gregg has always wanted to be a writer, but life constantly got in the way. She put herself through college and graduated school, raised 3 children, became a librarian, and taught school until she decided to take a new turn in her life. Good for her. Now she is realizing the dream of her 11-year-old red-headed self, who wrote stories on notebook paper and read them to her class. Currently, she lives on acreage outside of Nashville with her husband. Her home is surrounded by wildlife, including squirrels, deer, groundhogs, turkeys, seasonal hummingbirds, and a few pesky skunks. Her life sounds like fun. Anyway, now to the book. Hope you all enjoy this audiobook reading of Doppelganger Jumper, Part 1, Stalked. Chapter 1. I arrived at the Banshee's house feeling disoriented, like being zapped with a stun gun, and aching because I was so close to running away. This was the plan for this day. Escape inside my pillowcase. A key to an outside door was hiding. By that door, a bag with necessities sat ready to grab. The scheme was foolproof until I was awakened by social workers who wanted me packed and prepared to go with them in 20 minutes. 20 minutes? The escape plan had to be aborted, and see, my roommate ditched the key before it was discovered. They loaded me into a car with little explanation and took me from the Atlanta Children's Shelter to Nashville. I'm 250 miles away from the life I know. It may as well be 250 million miles. Now I'll never find my mother. While on the trip, one worker said, "You're lucky your Aunt Nora will take you in." They go on about her notoriety as a famous but reclusive artist who lives on 20 acres in an old country house she saved from ruination. They think they have all the particulars, but they know nothing about banshee issues. Dad swore my aunt is a creature who takes pleasure in death. He claimed she would plot my demise and float up to the rooftop, wailing with delight at the thought of cursing her niece. He said,
"That's what banshees do,"
and moved us from the family home in New Orleans to Atlanta. However, my father is unreliable. My mother quietly told me that my father had it wrong. Also, the wailing and death stuff is mostly false. Mostly? This banshee business has to be nonsense. How could it not be? My dad wanted to scare me and justify the move. But now, the banshee comes out to collect me. And I'm amazed. When she walks, her feet barely touch the ground. She has flowing clothes, shiny earrings, straight white teeth, and rich mahogany hair. She's my grandmother's sister, my great aunt, but she looks young. We get out of the car with everyone smiling except me. A caseworker runs up the porch, steps to conduct a surprise security recheck of the house, even though Aunt Nora wasn't surprised by this visit. The other comments about how the banshee and I look alike. "You two could be mother and daughter." She turns to stare at me. "You both have azure eyes and the same heart-shaped face." Her assessment turns into advice. "Also, your hair would have that luster sheen if you'd brush it out, and if you'd erase the sullen look on your face." "Yes, thank you for bringing Abigail to me. I know it was a long trip," says Aunt Nora. The backhanded compliment to me being a 16-year-old mini banshee causes my aunt to move close to a protective stance. She grasps my icy hand with her warm one. I would laugh, but nothing's funny. The other caseworker bounces out of the house and holds her thumb up to signal Aunt Nora's home is appropriate for a juvenile removed from a very inappropriate situation. They swing into their car and leave before Aunt Nora can say goodbye or change her mind. They don't exactly peel out, but I see a dust cloud in their wake. "Let's go in the house. It's bad luck to watch people leave down the road," says Aunt Nora as she nods towards the house. The outside of her home was a wraparound wood porch, stained glass diffused through the windows, and a large dorm on the second floor. Butterflies visit the flowering bushes scattered about, and I hear gentle bells of wind chimes in the breeze. I do not watch the car leave down the road. Inside, we move past the massive staircase that divides the house to the kitchen, located along the back of the place. There I see creamy distressed cabinets and a table made from old wood. The most remarkable feature is an antique wood-burning cast iron stove on stone cobbles. Its door is decorated with a four-legged dragon in flint. I'm mesmerized, imagining this stove with a fire inside and the dragon illuminated into orange and yellows. But for now, it waits. All around I see evidence of an artist's work. Over a door there is a sign that says, "Artist at work." Clocks, hourglasses, and sundials will be ignored. Aunt Nora set a plate of food on the table and gestures to a chair. I push myself under the table. "So, you're a banshee?" She looks up, but doesn't answer. "How do you know?" I add. "Is there a book or instruction manual on how to be a banshee?" Aunt Nora sits, expelling a loud breath. She frowns, which is not surprising. I'm being a brat. "It's a sui generis gift. I warn people of their fate." A sui generis gift? I filed that away for later discussion. Then why didn't you warn my mother about my I did. I told her your father would be her downfall. I was relentless. Up on the rooftop relentless? Her eyebrows lowered and her head tilts. That only happens if the doom is imminent. That really happens? I can't read her face, but she has to be mocking me. I regret the ridiculous conversation, and we both are tired of my snark. With my anger spent, I drop my head and shoulders, remembering how I held my mother's hand as we struggled to escape from my father through the small bathroom window. Why didn't she listen to you? No longer definite, I've probably wiped away my sour, sullen face. I was barely 21 years old. She was 16. And pregnant, I added. Before now, I never thought about how awful it was for my mother. She faced a life-changing decision, and she chose wrong. Aunt Nora scoots next to me. She felt lost after her mother's cancer fight, and she refused to listen. This sealed her fate. You believe there's no such thing as free will? Didn't say that, but fate is a real thing. I saw her tragedy approaching, but was helpless to do anything about it. So my banshee foresight is more of a curse than a blessing. I see people scurry to avoid their fate before they run right into it. These complicated concepts require more discussion, but she looked at the plate and pointed, "Eat!" Refusing to eat while on the road was my rebellious and defiant position today, but there's no point in starving myself. The sandwich, salad, and fruit make my stomach growl. I say, "My grandmother was your sister, right?" "Right. My parents passed when I was a child. My sister, your grandmother, was 26 years older than me and raised me with your mother. I'm your mother's aunt, but we were like siblings." Aunt Nora and I have something in common. We were both unwanted babies. She was born to a mother too old and me to a mother too young. But my mother is older now. When she is well, I'll get her away from my dad and things will be good. I say, "When will my mother recover?" She didn't expect this question. Her face changes, and she looks down at her empty hands. "I can't say." That's a vague answer. I groan inside my head. Ugh. The social workers believe my problems will be solved with a new home. But I am wrecked and need information about my mother. I want to see her. I need to know where she is. We might see her tomorrow. If all goes well, she'll be transferred to a hospital here. You can talk to her doctor yourself. I asked about your sizes. We can also shop for some things you like. This room and the clothes suggest she wants me, which is confusing. I open my mouth, close it, and struggle between anger and a powerful urge to shrink into a blob of garbled mush.
Why didn't you come get me? Why did they dump me off here like an old unwanted mangy dog?
Rubbing my temple, I continue. Other girls were picked up by relatives, but I was thrown into a car for a weird delivery. Abigail! She puts her arms around my shoulders. I flew down there twice. They wouldn't let me have you at first. I lower to the bed, twisting my hands together. There are a couple of psychotic episodes in my past, but that was a long time ago. She pushes up her sleeves. I contacted the right judge in Atlanta to make my case, and she wrote the order for them to bring you to me immediately. And that's what happened. How do I answer that? She came for me twice. Chaotic thoughts make it difficult to decide which is more unnerving. Her tolerating me or her fighting for me? Were her psychotic episodes banshee related? Asking her more about being a banshee seems ill-timed, so I detach from these grievous speculations by changing the subject. Tell me about Sue's generous gifts. She sits beside me on the bed and nods. I know you're unsettled right now, but let's talk about this because you might have one. Me? A banshee gift? No, a dream jumping gift that will help you sleep. But we'll see. She walks over to the closet and takes out a nightgown. I made this for you to help you uncover your gift. The gown is silly. I sleep in sweatpants and t-shirts to run outside if necessary. But I can't say that to her. I take it in my hands and thank her. It has lines, dots, colors, and shapes and swirls on it. Look at that gown and see if you can use the designs to construct pictures. Like pointillism or divisionism from art class? Maybe, but what can you see? Someone using vines to climb a steep mountainside. Anything else? It's a girl, and there's a leg foot above her. So she's with another person. The picture fades into swirls. I look around more. There's a stone farmhouse and a landscape. Sighing, I add, but the images fade away, and it's hard to make the pictures reveal themselves. Splendid observation! Put the gown on and sleep. She lays a child's cuddly stuffed animal toy on my pillow. It's a squirrel, with a fluffy gray and white striped tail. And if I was 5, I would have loved it. My eyes roll as she closes the door to leave me alone. Opening my suitcase, I almost gag because the stale-smelling clothes remind me of the shelter. I slam the lid, take a strawberry-scented soapy shower, and pull on the fresh gown. It shouldn't feel comfortable, but it's clean, silky and warm. With a slide into the luxury of sheets, I hold the little squirrel, smile at it, and then toss it to the foot of the bed, 'cause I'm a jerk. And that was chapter 1 of this interesting book. So far, I like it. Although our main character needs an attitude adjustment. I mean, I get it. She's having trouble, but at the same time, she shouldn't be so ungrateful to her aunt, who's being nothing but kind to her.